Fanboy, 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 fanboy. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fanboy Reviews Countdown. Today we take a look at the top 10 worst Metal Gear games of all time in the entire Metal Gear franchise. Let's begin. Number 1, Metal Gear Acid. This one came out for the PSP in 2004. A ridiculous turn-based card game under the Metal Gear license. That's right. A nonsensical turn-based strategy game using cards. This is just a tedious, boring, and generally just not a fun experience. I mean, at the time, the PSP was the most powerful handheld in the world, yet we received this complete pile of trash from Konami. The gameplay, essentially Metal Gear Acid, is what completely kills the entire game. Very slow and plodding, unfaithful to the original stealth action style of gameplay we've grown to actually enjoy. Definitely not worth the full price of $40 when it was first released. Ridiculous 40 bucks for this. What a waste. And you know, this was simply a horrible cash-in that tries to ride on the bandwagon of popular card games for the time, you know, games like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. Metal Gear Acid, an utter flop. Alright, number 2. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Came out on the PS2 back in 2001. Now, Sons of Liberty is arguably one of the most disappointing sequels of all time, bar none in gaming history. This was hyped up as the supposed epic sequel to the original Metal Gear Solid for the PS1. MGS2 utterly failed to provide a sensible story, with actual critics calling the plot incomprehensible. The cutscenes itself were too long, man, just far too lengthy, and the dialogue were so convoluted, and it just makes the entire experience feel incoherent and hard to understand. They try to be so introspective and philosophical with their crap. The writing was just utter garbage. Oh, by the way, Raiden also sucked. You know, he basically replaced, you know, Solid Snake for the most part. He became this protagonist, a pathetic character that shouldn't have been included in the first place. Alright, number 3, Metal Gear. That's right, came out in 1987 for the MSX2 computer. This was the first game in the series. It was an utter failure for various reasons, though. First of all, the gameplay is very unoriginal and not innovative at all. You know, it basically rips off Manhunt. That's right. This was Manhunt was a really good violent stealth action game by Rockstar. Came out way back in like the PS2, way back in the day, so long ago. You know, just a complete rip-off of that game, and you know, Metal Gear was a typical Japanese developer's creation, or I should say, complete hackneyed attempt at stealing ideas from American designers. Tries to use the stealth mechanics, but absolutely falls flat, because, I mean, for example, when you exit a screen, and then you enter another screen, you face right in front of an enemy guard, and there you go. What kind of that's not even stealth, that's just like random stupidity. Poor game design, really horrible creation, and Snake can't even crawl or make noises to distract the enemies. You know, he's missing all these abilities. It's just impossible to even get far with this game. You know, you need an actual guide to play this absolute garbage. The first Metal Gear stinks. Coming in at number 4, Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes for the GameCube. Came out in 2004. You know, basically rips off Metal Gear Solid for the PS1. That's right. Not original or creative or fresh at all. They basically try to add in, you know, Metal Gear Solid 2 elements, Sons of Liberty, but it just ruins it, because It's completely unnecessary, and makes it far less challenging. So you got this horrible, hackneyed ripoff of a game that also suffers from so much slowdown and lagging frame rate issues. I mean, it's just so buggy. That's what you get for releasing it on a weak system like the freaking GameCube. And this was an exclusive for the GameCube, so you know it's already crappy. Nintendo was just desperate for a Metal Gear game, so they got this pathetic excuse. Alright, number 5. Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater came out on the PS2 originally in 2004. Now this was an unnecessary garbage prequel about Naked Snake. That's right. So Naked Snake is basically this rip-off version of Solid Snake, and it goes to show you how unoriginal those morons at KCEJ really are. It was made during a time of stupid trends of prequels in Hollywood. You know, at the time they had all these movies about prequels, you know, Phantom Menace and all that garbage. So naturally the video game started, you know, trying to do it as well. It's set during the 60s Soviet wilderness, which completely ruins the urbanized, futuristic settings that we've gotten to actually enjoy in the previous games. Nobody wants to play Metal Gear in the forest, okay, with all that trees and camouflage and all that crap. It's only 30 frames per second instead of 60, so I mean the graphics are even worse than Sons of Liberty, which came out like 3 years earlier. Pathetic. Number 6, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance came out in 2013 for the PS3 and 360. This was just a crappy action hack and slash game that isn't even an actual Metal Gear Solid game. It tries too hard to be like, you know, Ninja Gaiden, Bayonetta. It's just a wannabe, a clone, but completely fails to deliver in quality. The boss fights sucked, felt unchallenging, the music was awful, wasn't even cool, you know, it doesn't sound good. The combat system was just too simplistic, very unoriginal. The characters were also stupid and lame. I mean, Raiden, once again, you know, this idiot Raiden character comes back, a horrible protagonist in gaming. I don't know why they keep using this character. I just want to barf whenever I see Raiden. Coming in at number 7, Metal Gear Ghost Babel, aka Metal Gear Solid for the Game Boy Color, came out in 2000. This was another one of those crappy portable games, the handheld games, that can't get anything right. It mixes elements of old games, particularly Metal Gear Solid 2, Solid Snake from 1990, and the real Metal Gear Solid 1 for the PS1 from 1998. But really it's just an alternate sequel to the original Metal Gear, the one from 1987. It's not even canonical. That's right. It means everything that happens in this game is completely irrelevant. The graphics look horrible, even worse than NES. You know, garbage Game Boy Color graphics. Terrible audio and music. Doesn't even have proper cutscenes. You know, I mean, voiceovers, absolutely not. Simply sucks. Especially compared to the actual, you know, console PC games that came out in the past. I mean, Game Boy Color, crappy handheld, crappy games, what do you expect? Coming in at number 8, Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots came out in 2008 for the PS3. Now, this was, to this day, I mean, it's the PS3 exclusive, so only came out on the PS3. You never know, I mean, one of these days might be re-released again on, you know, the PS4 or the PS5 or whatever, you know, in some kind of collection. You never know. But for now, it's basically the Metal Gear Solid 4 PS3 edition, and it's one of the most overblown games of all time. I mean, muddy graphics, bland colors, 40-minute cutscenes that were just boring and tedious. It should have been a movie instead of a game. Very limited gameplay. Linear environments and stages, crappy storyline about some douchebag that ages really quickly and mixed in with some cyberpunk stuff. So really, it's like a garbage ripoff of like the Terminator mixed with Patch Adams. I mean, what an absolute joke. The war-torn setting that nobody cares about is absolutely derivative. We've seen it a billion times. You only get like one mech segment, you know, controlling the mech and, you know, some sneaking around here and there. We've seen that before a trillion times. Just a crapload of boring cinematics. Metal Gear Solid 4. Awful. Alright, coming in at number 9, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Came out in 2010 for the PSP. Oh, another freaking Metal Gear for the PSP. Are you kidding me? There's been like 20,000 of them on the PSP already. I mean, what a complete waste of effort. The boss fights are boring and tedious. The game is way too easy or way too difficult. You know, it just like seesaws between the two. It's very inconsistent. The controls are broken because of the PSP's horrible analog stick. You can't even crawl anymore. Hello, you can't crawl anymore. Let's take crawling away from a Metal Gear game. Are you insanely stupid? What kind of crap is this? The levels are too small, the graphics look blurry, it looks cheap. It shouldn't even have been made after like Metal Gear Solid 4. I mean, it's like the games have become repetitive. Alright, coming in at number 10, Metal Gear Solid, that's right, came out in 98 for the PS1. Easily one of the worst games ever made. MGS1 for the original PlayStation is just a waste of time. The graphics are garbage terrible. They look blocky and polygonal. I mean, looking at it, I would confuse it for a diarrhea that I left 20 minutes ago after eating, you know, chili sandwiches. There's really nothing solid about it. I mean, really solid. You're trying to play on words here, Solid Snake. It's a 3D game, I understand it, Kojima. Stop trying to be clever, alright? You're not smart. Matter of fact, I've seen way better graphics on an iMac computer from like 2002. Even the 3DS has better graphics, so... what a joke. I mean, it's embarrassing. You know, the gameplay is nothing new. We've seen it a million times. It's basically just a ripoff of the Metal Gear computer games that came out in the late 80s, early 90s. The stealth mechanics, just a complete overdone, repetitive thing. We've seen it a million times before. You know, Splinter Cell, Assassin's Creed, I mean, it's redundant. We also got the very annoying Snake death scream sequence by that idiot Ocelot. I mean, what a frickin' loser that idiot is. I can't even believe he survived all the games. Ocelot. Stupid name. What a mess. Alright. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's the top 10 worst Metal Gear games in the entire Metal Gear franchise. What have we learned from this top 10? Well, Kojima, he's an absolute hack. A one-trick pony who just recycles everything, the same crap over and over again. I mean, repetitive stealth mechanics may have been, okay, innovative in the late 80s, but it's already outdated by, like, you know, 1992. I mean, been there, done that. You know, we all know that Metal Gear Solid 5, Groundhog Day, or, you know, Found Zeros, or whatever the heck it's called, I mean, you know, that's not going to be worth it. I mean, it's like, I heard it's like 20 minutes of gameplay, and that's it. Very short campaign, so nothing new there. I mean, why would you bother even buying that crap? And then you got the Phantom Pain garbage, which is like Metal Gear Solid 5 again. You know what I mean? Like, they split Part 5 to cash in on the title. I mean, it's absolutely horrendous. Taking advantage of these idiot drones that still continue to buy this Metal Gear crap. I knew it was a waste since the beginning. I mean, there's nothing really good about Metal Gear. It's always been garbage since the first one. The PS1 version sucked. The PS2 era sucked. PS3, absolute feces. I mean, if you want sheer quality and pure innovation, there's only one answer. Just get the new Call of Duty that comes out later this year in 2014. It's going to be the next-gen versions of COD for the PS4 and the Xbox One. You know, they're working on it right now. I mean, Activision, they got the development ready. They got that thing rocking. They're creating like 3 new games, new series for the next gen. So wait for that instead. Save your money. Don't waste a single cent on this. If you actually even think about buying this, you're an absolute pathetic, brainless loser.